everybody, and welcome back to the Cypress Hollow Zoo. My name is GrizGoat, and our zoo is coming along so nicely. I just love everything that we're doing so far. Today we are going to change this area right here, in between the waterfall and the greenhouse, into a playground and a red panda habitat. So if that's the kind of thing that interests you, please like and subscribe, and let's jump right into the build. We're starting off today's build with a small little playground behind our waterfall feature for our flamingo habitat. This space seemed a little empty, and I wanted to utilize kind of the back of the petting zoo to kind of lead into a new area and provide a different route for guests to come see the rest of our zoo. And what better way to fill the space and create a transitional area than a playground? This area is also kind of inspired by the Point Defiance Zoo in Washington. I recently went there and saw their playground, and they had exhibit boxes kind of incorporated in near the playground, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So we're going to incorporate 3 different exhibit boxes into this. We're going to put doors on the inside of our waterfall room just for access. And you can see the pathways also lead to the back of the exhibit boxes for the staff. Our pathway up front will be covered by a cushioned floor. It's not actually going to be made out of cushion, but we're going to make it look like a playground flooring. And then we're just going to adjust the temperature and add the backdrops to the 3 back walls for each exhibit. And now we colored it green. We're going to also add a little texture with this metal piece. We're going to color a darker green just to give it a subtle texture on the surface of our building. And then we're going to use logs to kind of frame each box and kind of help us go back to the more natural aesthetic we started off our zoo with. Here I'm making just some little bouldering kind of things for kids to climb on. We're going to color these kind of darker and a light green, and then I'm going to add little climbing holds onto each one. This park is not really intended for bigger kids. It's more intended for smaller kids, maybe toddlers, just to kind of crawl around on stuff and give the parents a nice break for a little bit. Now I'm adding in the floor. I felt like this mud floor kind of looked like cushion, especially when you color it blue or an unnatural color. And this is gonna kind of be a swampy little scene that we're gonna make in our playground. We're gonna add some walls so our children don't escape, and an entrance on each side. And then we're going to make this tiny little toddler slide out of the 2 alligator cartoon pieces, and we're just gonna ramp that slowly down. Like I said, not built for big kids, maybe babies and toddlers. And then we're going to add in more of our guest enrichment by this giraffe. We added the 2 interactive things and the gorilla stand over there. To blend everything in, we're going to make it that same green color we've been using throughout our zoo. And now we're going to add the backdrop to the playground just to add some visual interest and make it really fun. I decided to play with these art shapes and just kind of make these squiggly things that we're going to put in a water feature. That way it kind of separates the playground into its own little space and just kind of creates a unique little backdrop and containment area for the playground. Now we're just going to add the water. I put the barrier down, and we're going to sink that the best we can into the green wall that we created. And there we have that. We colored them green just to fit in with everything, and it's time to move on to the red panda habitat. For the red pandas, we're going to build it in this small little space between our greenhouse and our playground. And of course, in typical GrizGoat fashion, we're going to make it a circle. Some YouTubers build rectangles, some YouTubers build circles. I like circles. So we're just going to spin this concrete block around. It's small enough that it gives you a nice transition and you don't see too many hard edges when you make a circle out of it. It's a really nice piece. I use it for building a lot. So that's the main area we're going to fill. And we're just going to use the chain link barrier that's already in the game. Sometimes chain link is better to just use this instead of working with the mesh pieces because it's easier to see. And then we're just going to add our staff door to the back. We're going to duplicate the ring we made up to the top of the habitat, and then we're going to put a center column with this mud wall piece just kind of raised up above, that we can now put a mesh barrier at the top of our habitat. And here you'll be able to see just how annoying and hard to see the mesh barrier pieces really are. So that's why I try to avoid using them if I can. So we're just duplicating that mesh piece over, and we're going to make a circular roof out of it just by duplicating it over and over again. And here's the final look at the shell of our structure. Now let's take a look at our red pandas. These guys are absolutely adorable, and it looks like they are already getting along great. These guys are so cute and fluffy in this game, and in real life. I really love them. And I'm surprised that I haven't built for them sooner. Very adorable, very fluffy, and very cute. Because I limited the space in our habitat, we're gonna have to choose smaller trees for their area. So we're sticking with these Himalayan birch trees. They worked out perfectly because they're not too tall for our habitat, and if they were, I could easily sink them into the ground. We're gonna add a climbing platform. I could imagine them sleeping on these platforms kind of in the middle of the habitat, kind of as far away from the guests as they could get. And then adding a just kind of climbing tower for them so that we meet their climbing habitat needs. We're gonna do some quick terrain work. Just adding dirt close to the structures of our habitat because not a lot of grass will grow next to them. And then we're going to add a lot of rocks that will hopefully bring our red pandas up to visitors level, but also add a lot of places for them to hide. This is an eco-friendly zoo, so we are trying to make as comfortable habitats as possible for our animals, which is why we kind of set this habitat a little further back from the path, especially on that path near the water, just to provide a little more privacy for our red pandas. And now that we have all of the planting and rock work done, we're going to move on to the enrichment items. So we're going to place enrichment all around the habitat just to promote them walking around and moving to different sides of the habitat and going up on top of the rocks so that the guests can see them better. We're also going to change the pathing up a little bit. We're going to make a kind of quiet viewing area for them on this side next to the playground. You can see I can't really attach a pathway to the food court area, but that probably works out better for the privacy for our pandas. I'm just going to add in some railings for our stairs and just kind of a divider from the food court to the red panda area. We're going to change the color to the dark concrete we've been using, and then we're going to carry the railing down this stretch of pathway. I'm going to put in plenty of bamboo just to add the division between the two separate areas, and then adding a railing on this side of the stairs. You can see the bamboo is floating there. I didn't want the leaves to clip through the other side of the railing, so we're going to raise this portion up and hopefully hide those floating stems. Now that that's complete, we're going to add bamboo around just to divide from the playground area as well. We don't want screaming kids to impact our red pandas too much. We're going to add a railing around the habitat just to keep guests from reaching over and trying to pet our pandas. And then we're going to add more bamboo in kind of this heavier trafficked area just for a little more privacy. That's right by the greenhouse entrance. So we want them to kind of move along and not hover in that area. We're going gonna add a railing to our concrete path. And now it's time to decorate the area with flowers and rock work like we've done similar to the other areas. I'm gonna make my attempt to make this area more like a plaza, just by connecting the path in kind of a crisscross motion. And then I'm gonna use bamboo in these areas and just kind of make little planters out of them. Also increasing the privacy and kind of hopefully implying that this is an area that we should be a little more quiet in. And now we're going to add a bunch of rocks and foliage around for the more natural aesthetic around our zoo. We're going to add plenty of plants around, really make it feel like a natural environment. One last thing on our habitat is I forgot some structure for our mesh pieces. So we're just gonna add that to the 4 points where the clay roof meets, just to give some implied structural support. And now that we have all of that done, it is time for the final cinematics. Here we have a family enjoying the view of our exhibit boxes. Our playground is looking incredible and the skyline and sightlines are very nice. We have our red pandas just hanging out in their habitat. Plenty of climbing for them. They seem to like to hang out together, which is very cute. They follow after one another, just like best buds. Alright, thanks for joining me on this red panda build. We built a playground as well, which was awesome, and thank you all for hanging out with me once more. I've been GrizGoat, and I will see you next time after you like and subscribe. Goodbye!